thanks a million for joining us today. I thought it would be really useful if I just outlined why we're doing this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Great.
Yeah, great. So myself and Tara decided to create a series of no-nonsense Insta Lives for people so that we could educate our audience on what's happening in different sectors right now around the country. So we invited on industry experts like yourself to tell us what's going on at the coalface. Last week we had Jane Brady, this is from insurance, and this week we've got you. So you are a partner in a large recruitment firm in Dublin. And recruitment for us is really interesting because it has everything to do with equity at work and working conditions and more than ever, flexi work and remote working and the future of work. And all of these things are sustainability issues. So I thought it might be really useful for you to introduce yourself, tell us about the panel, the organisation that you work for, and how has it been for the last 3 or 4 weeks?
That's great. Okay, thanks, Madeline. That's brilliant. So I'll give you a bit of background on myself and the panel and how things have changed in the last few weeks for us, I guess. So I'm a partner at the panel. I have been working in the recruitment industry for 17 years and have been working with the panel for 15 years. So the panel is based in Dublin. We're a boutique firm and we hire professionals across financial services, legal, HR, accountancy and technology. And I personally specialise in the recruitment of legal professionals. So I hire in-house counsel for the financial services companies, technology, pharmaceutical, all the rest. But I also hire associates and partners for the law firms in Dublin. So in terms of how things have changed, I guess in the last few weeks, like everybody else, I'm now working from home, right? So for me, it hasn't been a massive change. I do 1 day a week from home anyway, but 5 days a week is very different, okay? So obviously missing my colleagues and the banter in work, but we're doing our best to keep on top of things by doing Microsoft Team calls and Zoom calls and all the rest for team morale. So that's worked out very well. And for us, we've been lucky in the sense that we did a big technology upgrade in the last few months. And it meant that obviously we're all on laptops, everything is in the cloud. So when this happened, we were ready for it, I guess. So overnight, we were able to move everybody home and work from home and work remotely and very seamlessly, actually. So that was really, really great. Yeah, so the working from home thing, that's been a big change for a lot of people at the moment. And I guess it's something that, if you come back before the coronavirus issue, we've seen lots of companies that have very advanced policies around agile working and remote working. And obviously that's helping their employees in terms of their sustainability within their positions, right? And, if that means kind of helping them in terms of making sure that they've got decent work-life balance and that they can get home to, do homework with their kids or pick up their kids from creche or whatever is important to them. So that is...
And has that been driven by the candidates or the clients, or is it a mixture of both that you've seen?
It's a mixture of both, but certainly the last 18 months, almost every candidate I speak to when they call me about a job asks me if there's a possibility of some sort of flexibility or remote working. So it's really, really popular. And I guess if you look at some of the ones that are fairly advanced on it, I work with a lot of the law firms in Dublin, and I never thought I would see a traditional Irish conservative law firm offering a remote working prospect, but they do. They have been actually for the last couple of years. So when I go to sell that job or talk about a company, it's really advantageous if they've got that policy in place.
Do you think it, Sarah? Do you think it do you think it attracts a better candidate, a better caliber of candidate, if that is part of the offer?
Yeah, I guess in some sense it'll attract any good or bad candidate, to be honest. But I think if there's a really good candidate where there's a skills shortage, for example, yes, if they feel they've already got it where they work. Okay, so some people will get 4 days a week or remote working where they're currently working, but when they're moving job, then they want to retain that. So that's important to them that they can retain. So it is something that they request. And I guess when you look at companies that have this already in place and they're very cutting edge and they're leading it, there are also companies that have not put this into place. Okay, so there's lots of companies that I speak to and they feel like, no, it doesn't suit our culture, it doesn't suit our work setup, so we can't offer that. So I guess they're in a bit of a predicament probably after this situation, right? Because it's now been proven that in most cases it is working. So there's evidence there, and it's anecdotal. Obviously, I'm speaking to clients and they felt that maybe the first week was a bit difficult, but there hasn't been a big decline in output. Productivity has remained steady. So so I guess the evidence is there. So I think when employees go back to work, into the offices, they probably will request some sort of agile working or remote working going forward.
And do you think your clients are now prepared for that, or getting prepared?
I think a lot of them have had to kind of get up to speed now. Yeah, I think they are prepared for it. So it's something I think we're going to see going forward. So, and I know like working from home is something that you're particularly interested in, Madeline, because it has an impact on the environment and sustainability. So I know you're the expert in that, but I'll give you my tuppence anyway from what I do. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer to say that if somebody is not sitting in a car on the M50 for 2 hours commuting from Portlaoise or Tullamore or wherever, or just from, Blanchardstown or Ballsbridge, that of course it's going to have an impact. There's going to be less carbon emissions, right? And the same goes for people travelling to meetings overseas. A lot of our clients travel to London every single week for meetings with their clients who are often based in London. So that has a big knock-on effect, I think, on carbon emissions. So where we'll go with this after coronavirus is interesting. I think one of the biggest things, though, apart from there's the well-being piece as well, right? People sitting in cars for 2 hours, it's just not good for your mental health or your well-being.
And that's, and you're so right. That's equally a sustainability issue. It's just as valid.
It is. Yeah. It is. But and then there's the real estate costs, okay? So there's plenty of companies, I'm sure they're in Dublin as well, but there's certainly plenty of companies in London where they might employ 100 people, but they only have space for 50 in the office, and they rotate that, right? So that's a real estate cost. And I don't think that's going to be a big change immediately, because lots of the companies obviously are tied into real estate agreements and commercial leases. So they're not going to be changing that immediately. But in the future, if they feel, you know what, some of our colleagues have been working from home, we can save space, we can save on real estate costs, that is something I think they will look at down the line, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it will inform how you craft jobs, how you present things to candidates, how you help clients scope for different candidates.
Yeah. And I don't think people will work from home 5 days a week, because I know a couple of people who do that, and they're on my books trying to get something where they can get back into an office. They're lonely, they find it really hard. It's difficult doing it 5 days a week, so I think, and then the other thing I thought, which was interesting, is with agile working and remote working and working from home, is the piece around regionalisation of jobs. Okay,
sure.
It's going to have a massive impact if more of the jobs can get pushed out of the hubs of Dublin. Obviously Dublin, Cork, Galway, Limerick all have very decent financial services setups, pharmaceuticals, medtech. But there's so many other regions, and I get lots of calls from candidates about jobs who they live in Clare or they live in Donegal, and they're like, can I not do that job remotely? And at the moment, the clients are not really jumping on it. But I think after this, they might feel, you know what, we can find and source these people in other parts of the country. They don't just have to be in Dublin or in the hubs of Galway or Cork. So we're hoping that will have an impact and push the jobs out to the regions, which I think would be very healthy for the environment.
It will indeed, and recruitment will have a massive role to play in that.
Absolutely.
And then tell me about the jobs market right now, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So I guess I suppose the advice, what I'm going to tell you here, I can only speak for the sectors I recruit in, right? And from what what the panel is seeing, I don't hire in the areas of engineering or med tech, so I can't really talk about those. But I suppose there's good and not so good news, right? So as not so good news, yes, we have seen a slowdown in certain sectors, particularly say SMEs or hospitality or any industry that is related to the aviation industry. So even software companies that provide software into aviation, the aviation companies, that's kind of slowed down. And what we're finding is clients are saying to us, we're putting these recruitment processes on hold. They're paused. They're not saying the jobs have disappeared, so that's not happening. But they are saying, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, or when the restrictions are lifted in May, or in the next couple of months, maybe we'll get back to these. So they're very much assuring us of that. But again, we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know really what's going to happen, but we hope that they come back. The other piece of not so good news, as we all know from watching the news, is that some people have had to take salary cuts, okay? And this is really a business continuity issue, right? The companies are reducing their salaries by it's approximately 20%. They're topping those up with the government scheme. So it's allowing then the company to continue their business in the next few months when things get back to some sort of normality. So anyone I've spoken to, any candidates I've spoken to, obviously they're not happy about that, but they understand because they want to make sure that they have a company to come back to. They want to have jobs and a business to come back to at the end of all of this. So they're having the short-term pain, I guess, for the long-term gain. So that's the kind of not so good news. What's
the good news? Give us the good news.
The good news is that they're for certain sectors, it's almost business as usual in terms of hiring, right? So if you take the financial services sector, for example, insurance is continuing to be busy, right? There's plenty of people, there's plenty of companies hiring within insurance. I actually just placed a legal counsel into a global insurance company. 2 weeks ago, she got the offer and the contract right in the middle of this. She's starting the job remotely next week. That's very positive. I also spoke to another insurance company yesterday who had put 2 jobs on hold. I think they did it as a bit of a knee-jerk reaction when this kicked off and they were nervous about what would happen. But they rang yesterday to say those jobs are back on and they're going to start interviewing for those now, which is fantastic. So yes, insurance is busy. Financial services, within any regulated jobs that have to be signed off by the financial services regulator or the central bank, they're business critical jobs, so they have to be hired and they have to go ahead. So a lot of those are probably senior positions, so they're slower, but they will go ahead. We had a Teams meeting this morning, actually a catch up on everyone's desk. Our technology business change desks are busy. They've lots happening. Yeah, so that's great. Like if you look though at the backbone of all of what's going on at the moment, apart from med tech and pharmaceuticals, like if you look at communications, like 3 or O2 or whatever, and Vodafone and BT, like they're all keeping us connected, right? So, there's huge pressure on Wi-Fi communications. So will be hiring engineers, analysts, technologists to keep all of that going. So that's really important as well. So that's the kind of good news, I guess, on what's happening across the sectors. But as I said, I can't speak for every sector, but obviously food production is busy. Certain aspects of retail, food retail is busy, pharma and med tech. So that's a kind of an overview of what's going on in the market at the moment.
And are your candidates nervous, given that they are knowing that a job they'd hoped to interview might be pushed out for another month now? Or what's the reaction from your candidates?
Yeah, some of them are like, if they're not working at the moment. So I've had a couple of, I have a few people who have just came back from traveling, say recently, or or maybe finished a contract recently. So they're a bit nervous, but otherwise the other people are in jobs. So they're very much like, okay, I'll keep my head down until this passes, and if that job comes back on, I'm ready to interview for it. So so that's what's happening.
And tell me about I presume LinkedIn is still as busy as ever, and recruiters are. I know that your social media on LinkedIn has been wonderful. The panels has been absolutely excellent at the moment.
Thanks very much. Sure, that's
pretty impressive. Are you seeing clients busy on LinkedIn, connecting in with candidates?
And from what I can see, it is. I think it's another platform to keep in contact with people. So people. That it depends on who you follow, but I follow obviously a lot of law firms, so I'm seeing the firms are putting up a lot of posts around advice for COVID-19, employment law, and that sort of thing. So I do think like LinkedIn is a massive platform, and it services so many different sectors that yes, it's going to be busy. It's continuing to be busy. So
and tell me, Sarah, then, if you had some wise words of wisdom to give to either clients or candidates at this time in the recruitment sector, what would you say to them?
I would give. So I have 3 pieces of advice mostly, because I know you were looking for like three top tips. So one of them is on interviewing. So as I said, like some companies are interviewing, and you're probably wondering how they're doing this. So they're doing it through virtual virtual interviews or virtual conferences, right? So I suppose if you do get called to one of those, don't be afraid of it. Like, it's the same as interviewing for any sort of interview face to face. So companies will take into account that, you know, you're not sitting in front of them, so the chemistry is not there, right? But the chemistry very much comes across on a video conference. So like any interview, you prepare by making sure you understand the company, their businesses, their services, their products, you know, prepare, understanding the spec inside out, be ready to sell yourself really well, have very good examples ready of your experience that relate to the job spec. You're in there to get yourself a second interview or whatnot, so do a good job on selling yourself. Show enthusiasm. So obviously on a video conference, you can still, your body language is going to come across, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the time with these interviews and selection of jobs or selection through an interview, a lot of it comes down to rapport and fit with the firm and the company and the individual you're talking to. So rapport is really important. From a very
presumably video interviewing was a thing long before COVID-19.
Yeah, absolutely, it was. I mean, I've hired a lot of people coming back from Australia, solicitors, and I recently hired an American lawyer who's married to an Irish lady, and he's just started in a new job in Dublin remotely. Actually, he's had to start the job remotely in the law firm. But like, absolutely, his interview was done through video conferencing. He didn't meet anybody, so, you know, face to face. So that's all, you know, it's been going along for a long time. From a very practical point of view, you need to make sure your Wi-Fi and connectivity is good, the lighting is good, you're not interrupted, so no kids running into the room and all that sort of stuff. If you do want to read a bit further on it, one of my colleagues, Adam Ryan, has written a really good document on it. It's on the panel.
Okay.
Yeah. So thepanel.com in our blog section. So you'll find that there. It's really good.
I'll share that afterwards, because there will be people who need to get interview ready and the nervousness around doing it remotely, as you're describing, isn't necessary if you're prepared.
No, exactly, yeah. So that's fine. The second piece then I would recommend, I know a lot of people are at home at the moment, and there's some people who are very busy. Their jobs are continuing as busy as usual. Other people are busy and they're also minding their kids and they're also homeschooling their kids. So there's lots happening. But if you do have the time and you find you've got an hour to spare here or there, I'm highly recommending that people take the time to update their CV, right? So you might worry about your job, and I'm sure it's fine, but just in case you decide to start looking in the future and in later in the year, here's one I made earlier. I've always wanted to say that on live TV. I have a 5-minute video on how to update your CV and how to create an impactful professional CV, right? So that's actually on our LinkedIn page, the panel's LinkedIn page. You'll find it there. And I go through kind of key tips around what to do with your CV and how it should look, the do's and don'ts basically of a CV, right? So one quick point.
Do people still get CVs wrong? Is that a thing?
Yeah, like we see some brilliant CVs coming through and we see some not very brilliant CVs. Desperate, right? So
and then is your role to rejig that CV and
So our role is probably to definitely give advice. I mean, if that CV is going out to one of my clients and I want that candidate to get an interview, I want it to be looking wonderful, right? So I will give a lot of advice on CVs. But if somebody spends very little time doing it, it's really obvious, right? So one quick thing I should say, like in the video, I mentioned this. There is research done out there that tells you that a recruiter or a line manager who shortlists your CV for interview spends about 6 seconds looking at it, which is nothing. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like, I'm sure we all spend a bit more than that, but you need to make a really big impact on your first page. Yes. It needs to be really good because they look out for key things. And if particularly, in a market where there might be, a number of candidates coming in for a job, make sure your CV looks good and it stands.
That's really useful to know. People don't know that.
I was shocked when I did the research on it as well. I found out, so it's not a very long time. So you need to make sure your CV is impactful. So that's that. And then the third piece of advice is, and this is, it's not a plug for the recruitment industry, right? But you really should make time to build a relationship with a good recruiter in your sector, right? So if you're an accountant or a solicitor, or you work in technology or HR or whatever you do, right? Find out who's recruiting in your sector and develop a relationship with them, okay? Because recruiters have a lot of inside knowledge into what's going on in the market, okay? And they'll be able to impart that to you. And it doesn't mean that you need to just talk to them once, while you're looking for a job. But over the years, so there's people that I've placed in jobs a couple of times that they've come I have good relationships with them. And when I get a new job in, like it'll be the first 2 or 3 people that come into my head that I think, they're good for that. I know them well, and I'll send them in. Yes, I advertise the job, and yes, I go through the CVs that come in. But if there's somebody I have a good relationship with, I'll be on to them straight away. So build a relationship with the recruiter, and you have the time to do it now, and the recruiters have time to do it now as well, right? So when the market is really busy, recruiters are out the door. They don't have time to talk to people sometimes. So if they have time now, then definitely pick up. And if you're wondering who to talk to, get a referral from, maybe one of your peers, one of your friends, maybe a mentor that you have, or even an ex-boss, somebody who you used to work with might be able to suggest somebody in the market.
I think that advice is really useful, and it seems to be across the board. And anyone that we've spoken to over the last month now, it's very much that relationships are what will get us through this, and these are professional and personal relationships.
Yeah.
A recruiter's relationship must be dancing between the two, professional and personal, then.
Yeah. I mean, you're so long in the business, you become friends with some of your.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, I've made some really nice friendships over the years with clients and candidates. So, and equally, we're in touch with so many long-standing candidates and contacts and connections that, they help us out by referring good people to us. We help them out by giving them market knowledge. So it's, it helps on both sides. So, so they're my core 3 pieces of advice if you're at home at the moment and you have time in your hands.
Sarah, I think it's really useful. And to go back to our original introduction, I think recruiters have a massive role to play in the future of work, which is inherently a sustainability issue. How we all work, how we manage our well-being, how we remain economically viable, how there is sustained business continuity. Recruiters are part of that jigsaw.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, from the very point of view that, we're feeding back to our what our candidates want, and, when it's a very candidate-driven market, so that means when there's, a lot of jobs, but the candidates have the power, right? The clients need to know that, and they need to know what works for them. And to be fair, a lot of companies and a lot of our clients have adapted to that, and they have brought in, agile working, flexibility, remote working. They're kind of seeing that now, that it's not that you have to be at your desk from 9 to 5:30 every single day, and there's no flexibility. So that's really important. And I think that, yes, we can share that knowledge with our clients and make sure that they understand how they manage their talent going forward in a difficult market, So, there you go.
Very useful, Sarah. We really appreciate your time, and I hope you found it beneficial too, talking to us.
Yeah, great. Really enjoyed it, and good luck with your series. It's a brilliant idea. You've had Jane Brady on already from insurance.
Yeah.
We've
got a few more lined up over the next few weeks. We specifically want people to talk to people that we've worked with, people that have, sustainability built into their DNA. It's how they operate and how they make the linkages between their sectors and sustainability, because our idea at Change by Degrees is that we build back better, that we don't return to business as usual.
Great, yeah. Brilliant idea. The best of luck with it. Okay.
Thanks for talking to me.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.